president of the Guam Visitors Bureau, former two-term governor Carl Gutierrez. Good morning, Gov.
Morning, Chris, Bree, and Jason. Thanks for having me on.
How are you doing?
We're doing well, but very cautious, staying home, and working out of the house. Simply because I'm just really kind of concerned that this thing is moving around quicker than than I want it to do in the community.
Yeah, and every day those numbers, right? They just keep on climbing, and even at the Guam Memorial Hospital, it's just frightening to see how they're at an all-time high of 62 COVID patients hospitalized. So
I understand. But you know what? As I was sitting here for the last, and I listened to the Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio for half an hour, it gave me some comfort to know that maybe this is what is really needed. Joshua said he's not driving the bus, but he certainly is one of the most learned tour guides, so he can really tell the people of Guam what really is going on out there, in a very clear way, because even I sometimes have a hard time reading the JIC report and whatever comes out with all those different numbers. I get confused. But Joshua, Lieutenant Governor, sitting here maybe every day for half an hour, tell the people what's going on, and because he's on top of everything. The governor is there very busy, but he's not missing a beat at Adelup, and he's got everything coming to him. And so hopefully the media will set aside at least half an hour for the Lieutenant Governor to actually face the people and tell us what's going on, because it's informative. He does it in a calm way, and he's just as concerned with us, So if I could give any suggestion to the governor, that's what I would like to see. Public health individuals are wearing blinders. It's a one size fits all. They are not concerned with anything outside of their protocols and guidelines. And there's a lot of heartaches that I've come across over the last 3 weeks, where people come out here to see their mom or their dad before they die, or even our own local people who is not necessarily dying of COVID, but are in the hospital, and his mother could not be allowed last goodbye at the hospital, and only the wife is allowed. And this is where somebody has to step in, and that this is such a dire thing that I would have allowed, even to put a whole hazmat suit on the mother to go see the son before he dies. This is very important. It's not like, this is the last final thing. And if you don't have the heart to do that, to say, okay, this is the protocol, but here, let me put everything on possible to protect you and to protect the patient at the hospital, to say goodbye to your son. And I'm talking about my poor boy, John Akfavi Jr. And, Liz is just like, every time we speak with her, she's heartbroken that she couldn't see her son at his deathbed. Mm-hmm. And so this is what I think the government and our local people here should understand our culture, and don't just, set aside this protocol that one size fits all. Nope, you can't do this, you can't do that. Somebody has to step in, like Joshua, this Lieutenant Governor, to make a decision above the public health people that are not supposed to be making anything else other than following their own protocols. But there's some higher authority to be able to look at the entire picture, figure out how to think outside the box, and make things happen so that it doesn't polarize our community. Right now, a lot of people are angry because of this situation. And so that's how we probably allay the anger of these people.
Gov, have you shared these concerns with Governor Liu?
Well, no, because it's, although I am part of the arriving passenger advisory group, it's outside the. I try to thank goodness for Dr. Nguyen when situations like this arise, that I have a direct communication with him, and he intercedes with the public health and figures out how to make things happen, like the family in Jonia, the Fernandez family, where all these kids are come out here and they got locked up for 14 days, and I'm trying to get out before the mom has any worse situation. And he did try to figure it out. There's got to be a way to do this. I mean, people have their own minds to be able to know that they're not going to get close to their mom who's in her sick bed to jeopardize her health. So we got to trust them to tell them to go home, quarantine at home, but stay in your room and just look through the window in her bedroom to be able to see her. There's a lot of things you can do to make exceptions and still be safe.
Well, Gov, I think you hit it right on the head. There's, a lot of people we have spoken with that have come on this show, especially Gayleen, who was on our show last week, and she was begging for compassion from the government of Guam. And you said you hadn't talked to the governor, but at the end of the day, it ends with her. She is the final decision maker. And I guess then if you haven't spoken to her, what would you say to her?
Well, I think that listening to the lieutenant governor here today, I think the lieutenant governor should step in right now and do what he's doing, and to making himself available for these kinds of. And I'm happy. I know that I tease my son-in-law Richard Arroyo, who Joshua's the lieutenant governor, says, okay, I know we have problems with funerals, so you take care of the bereavement of these families. You go and intercede for the governor's office and for the government of Guam to make sure that certain protocols can be looked at that will allow them to get out of that strict one that public health is giving you. So they're thinking that way now. I think they're understanding that there's something's got to be done to make sure that our people are not forgotten out there, that they matter. This idea of I'm trying to protect your life, so you're not going to go see your son die. I'm telling you, put a double suit on if necessary, but that's so important.
Right. And I hear you. I mean, people are willing to take that risk, despite the fact that, COVID is here. So I can understand what you're saying. And it is unfortunate that we're not seeing this sort of compassion, but you trust Lieutenant Governor, and hopefully, the governor will give him that authority, I guess, to kind of step in and help.
Yeah, I can't say they're lacking compassion. Sometimes this just doesn't get up to that level. And, that's why I said, leave your phones open. I do. At nighttime, they'll contact me because they know I'll contact them back. And that's what it takes. Somebody, and I'm glad that the Lieutenant Governor has assigned certain people for certain problems, so that when people call them, they answer, and somebody's on the other end. That's what you need. It's this personal touch. And I try to, when I get my phone calls, I even send some to the Speaker Barnes when I need something like that. And she also tries to intercede because she understands that this is so important. So I hope that when they listen to the Lieutenant Governor today, that he does have the information, he cares. And so let's make time for strictly COVID, no contracts.
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Is that the new catchphrase? Only COVID, no contracts. Gov, we kind of went all wow. I'm just still unpacking everything you just said. You sound very frustrated. Are we able to kind of talk tourism maybe for a minute? Because I know that Hawaii is slated to reopen their tourism industry. Right, and I know
open on my birthday.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something that's different than for us to try to emulate what Hawaii is doing. Hawaii is expecting the United States mainland does not have any restrictions for people to travel. So they're marketing to those people that come there, which is probably like 65% of their tourism is from the United States mainland. As far as Korea, Taiwan, and Japan, they have their own strict protocols that they're not allowing people to go to Hawaii, for example. So we're different in that way. So what we're doing is like Derek Kanata, was at the board meeting, asked about where is this testing procedure at the airport at right now. So GVB and John Kanata of the airport, we've been discussing this last week, and we're putting together an executive order, hopefully to give to the governor to review, so that we can go and figure out how to get this testing protocol that can come out in 1 minute, at the most 10 minutes, at $5. And this is already in play. We have to set it up, because if we're not ready, and I understand that when I asked John Canata, why aren't you not setting up for the testing procedures at the airport? He says, because the public health is so overwhelmed that they've shelved this on the side. So I said, well, let's do an executive order, have the governor assign you at the airport and GDB in compliance with public health procedures to head this airport testing project and let public health do what they're doing on a daily basis. So that's going to be going to the governor. Hopefully, we have to think about that outside. And in the meantime, we don't have any tourists coming in. But we're now understanding that when Jerry Parrish and I came in, Jerry said we have to start digitizing because not only in travel, but in the procedures that you have to go through when you travel to Guam, for example. So we've gotten $250,000 from the governor to digitize the customs form. And you do this, before you even get to Guam. And it also, we were only asking for 200,000, but when we went into a meeting with the governor, she liked the idea because that's always been her vision, to digitize as much as possible our procedures and things in Guam. So she gave us an extra 50,000 to include public health in the mix, so that we have this digitized form as we're creating it, and hopefully we get it done by December, so that when we start seeing the tourists come in, we have all these things in place, so it makes it easy at the airport. No congestion at customs. They just go through because they already have it actually pretty clear coming in. So these are the things that we're putting together, and also GVB is trying to do something like I don't know if you heard me last week at the board meeting, but I said the UFC One Championship. We have been in communication. First, it was brought to us by Derek Canata and Brandon Vera and Victor Cui, and we have decided that we like this idea of bringing the One Championship fight here to Guam. It attracts 1 billion viewers at that time, and through the main, streaming, it can get to 2 billion people. And it's only going to cost us putting up for room and ground transportation and the venue. And the venue would have to be at the University of Guam, because they have this high-tech cameras from the top of from a certain height. And they'll even give away free tickets to fill up the stadium if necessary, but they don't need people like that. So all we need to do is provide a special protocol that public health has received my letter asking for a special protocol for approximately the first fight, hopefully in December 15 is my goal, is that they have 150 of these fighters and trainers and the crew, the cameramen, to come in. If we plant this thing on Guam for Asia, because they love Guam being the epicenter of the Asia countries at 3, 4, 6, 5 hours away. And not only that, I asked them that they're going to promote it as America in Asia, because not only will it attract tourists, but it will attract business people from Hong Kong and other parts of Asia. Has been our goal. We have more fiber optics coming in and out of Guam than any place else in the world per capita. So when we start sending out to the entire world this UFC One Championship, and they see that we have every infrastructure in place, and they see just how well prepared we are to receive these business people coming here and making Guam their headquarters. You can't imagine, you can't buy that kind of publicity around the world. And so this is what we're doing right now. I just hope public health, and I'm seeing that's been a week since I sent my letter, so maybe they're still busy trying to figure out where all the COVIDs are. So I'm going to try to figure out again how to get that moving, to make a special protocol for these people. They're used to being tested 3 or 4 times a week. They don't mind that. You just got to get them here, and it's not going to cost us much.
Gov, I wanted to go back to what you had talked about compassion, and we heard earlier in the show about communication, and it's been a recurring theme here on the link, and specifically with press conferences, right? And just only ask you because you are the most experienced. You have 2 terms. You just, you know what I mean? I mean, you're Carl Gutierrez. How important is it to hold these, public opportunities like press conferences during a pandemic? Because we haven't seen them really in the last few weeks, and before that, they were very inconsistent. But do you think that they play a role in kind of allaying the fears of the public? And should we have more of these opportunities for the public to hear from, let's say, like the governor or lieutenant governor?
Yeah, I didn't really. You're muffled. I'm sorry, Chris, but I really couldn't pick up everything you're saying. You're too close to the mic and you're muffled, and I didn't quite hear everything you said.
I was just saying, do you think that we should be having more press conferences for the people? We haven't had a press conference with the governor, and it's been weeks. Before that, it was very sporadic. But how important are those press conferences, not just to allow the media the opportunity to find out more about the pandemic, but to kind of allay some of the fears and anxieties that the public is experiencing right now?
Very, very, very important. And I'm sure that they're doing that, but I think it's got to be beyond the perfunctory reporting by public health. It's got to be a very personal, knowledgeable person like the lieutenant governor, who has probably more time given to him by the governor, to go out and speak to the general public, speak to them like they're doing here on your show. Thousands of people are watching your show, and they have a lot of trust that the right questions are being asked. But we need to get that out. But sometimes we have to separate the COVID press conferences where they got your questions, because it confuses the people too. I really mean that sincerely. Let's get out of this mess that we're in right now. Then we can go back to normal politics. But right now I can't do anything at GDB unless the people really understand what the governor is trying to do. I mean, somebody's got to give her a fighting chance to get this thing down, numbers down. But when you see businesses abusing it simply because they think they're invincible, it's not going to get us to any closer to opening up our tourism and our entire local economy, for that matter. But yes, absolutely, and I hope that they will have once a day for half an hour, speak to the people of Guam in a tone and language that they understand, instead of comparative numbers, because that confuses me. And I don't need to know where all it came from, but I know one thing that's working is that over the last 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 92 of these people that tested positive, almost 30% was from contact tracing. And I know that it will help even more if everybody downloaded that COVID tracing app. And we're so polarized that we're only up to about 22% right now. Out of 73,000, we're only like about 18,000. And so we've got to do something to help each other speed up the numbers to go down, so we can open up our island.
All right. Anything in closing, Gov? Because I feel like you're in a talkative mood.
I sigh of relief that when I listened to the lieutenant governor today, I wasn't expecting to see him. Well, and I'm glad I came on early so I could hear what he had to say. I felt comfort that he is, in fact, up on things, and that knowing that he has now appointed someone to be able to take care of certain parts of the community that culturally we have to take care at funerals and things like that. Now he has to probably appoint also to take care of people that are here that are in dire need of seeing their family before they pass away, and not just for bereavement, but for actual closure of family matters. That's all I'm asking, is that I hope that at that level, like you said, I think it's necessary they speak to people every day for at least half an hour. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Gov. And really, you're right. Lieutenant Governor has been accessible. He comes on every Tuesday without fail, and if he can't, he lets us know. But it's so much that he can do when people want to hear from the governor, and she's invited to come on anytime, whether she wants to come on every day. She's more than welcome to. And I know if you were governor, you would do the same. So thank you, Uncle Carl. Governor
Thank you
Gutierrez.
very much, everybody.
Thank
Good
you, Gov.
morning, and stay safe.
Wash your hands.
And wash your hands and distance yourself back.
Right. Political distance.
Political distance. Yeah.
Okay, Gov. Okay,
Take care.
All right.
That was interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, all the other stuff aside, but the digital custom forms, the rapid testing, and this UFC 1 championship.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a whole lot to unpack there. 9:16, we'll take a short break. We're coming back with KUAM News' Decision 2020 next. It's the Breeze.